How would you feel if there was a reality show where flat earthers have to find the edge of the world? It would honestly be really entertaining to see some of these folks try and plan such a trip. It would probably turn into a survival show in 2 episodes. It seems so easy to prove it is flat. If it actually were. Watch Behind the Curve on Netflix. It's hilarious watching them prove the earth is round over and over again. Then argue their own logic. Is that the one where they bought the 20,000 gyroscope and explained perfectly the science behind what it would tell them if the world were actually round? Amused conspiratorial chuckles. And then when it showed exactly that result, they went into a proper scientific method. Our results aren't coming out as expected. Let's try and eliminate sources of error. Only for nothing they did to eliminate the error. My favorite was when they had 2 poles. One with a light on it at I think 17 feet high. And they said if they shined the light through a hole it would be able to be seen at 17 feet at the other pole if the earth was flat, or 22 feet if the earth was round. They do the experiment and the guy at the receiving end is standing at 17 feet saying, "Are you shining the light? I can't see it." He then climbs up until he sees it. And wouldn't you know it, he was at 22 foot. The silence that ensued was hilarious. It would fit perfectly in line with those reality TV History Channel shows where they treat everything they find like it's some big revelation, but in the end it's never anything of substance. Ever. I found an L over here. Narrator's voiceover. Could it be from a 16th century Spanish galleon? Or the True Cross? Next on the Curse of Oak Island. That Oak Island shit. I get it confused with another bogus History Channel show sometimes, but the one I saw was like an hour of watching a Moran get ready to go on a boat ride. They finally get to the island, and he walks around in circles, gesticulating at rocks, and then it ends. Edit. After some sleuthiness I have uncovered the truth. It was not Oak Island. It was Apocalypse Island with Jim Turner, who is the Moran in our tale. He made this big deal about how this island had all these Mayan ruins, 2012 apocalypse fever, and some galactic alignment involving Venus, the supermassive black hole in the center of the galaxy, and solar eclipses were all supposed to happen right at this island, and it's the only place in the universe that this can happen. Because that's how it works. This show was terrible, but I cannot find it on the YouTube. Here is a link to a Reddit comment made 10 years ago, link by Monkey, who also saw this horrible shit, and let me tell you it was everything he said and less. I have failed in finding the episode, but you can buy the DVD on Amazon. Yeah, right. Monkey link 10 years ago link. I just saw this, and it's really bad. It's supposedly about a Mayan monument on a remote Pacific island. However, it's 95% bullshit about 2012 and 5% about the monument. They only show the so-called monument for all of 30 seconds. And it's nothing but a rock formation. You might as well look for Jesus in your toast. Also, I read on the interwebs that this island is actually Robinson Crusoe Island. And the monument, which is actually just a geological rock pillar, is a popular tourist attraction. The guy in the film says the only way to get there is by boat, and there is no landing. But if this is the same island, there's both a port and an airport there. It's all bullshit, and it's 2 hours long. I'm sick in bed, and it wasn't even good even under these circumstances. See the wood on this boat? It's oak. The same kind of wood used to make the Ark of the Covenant. So, world tour of hiking, swimming, and all expenses paid. Suddenly things are looking flat. Yeah, you know. Suddenly I find myself to be a little suspicious of all this science shit. Yeah, like what's up with that curve that they talk about, laughing my butt off. Would be hilarious to make it like The Amazing Race, where the first team to find the edge of the world wins a large cash prize, and we can all watch them scrambling around with their conspiracy maps trying to travel to obscure parts of the world and see their priceless reaction when they realize they were wrong. Absolutely fantastic. It would go on for years. Each episode their crushing despair would go on, and it would be marvelous. Or on the other hand we could make it a race around the world, and so to get the money they have to admit they went around it, and that the earth is round. The issue would be that most of them think the North Pole is the center of the world, and that the earth opens up flattens as you go south, with Antarctica basically being the circular edge. So to find the edge, they'd have to take a journey to Antarctica and hike to its center past that, which would be costly and risky as duck. Not only to the participants but the crew. And then, even if they survived central Antarctica and made it to the opposite shore, they'd just claim that they got turned around or something. So nothing would change. Okay. So 2 or 3 groups then. Each one starts halfway or a third of the way around the world from each other, and all head towards their own respective south poles. By their logic, it would be impossible to run into each other because the other groups are literally on the other side of the flat earth. So then when they do all meet up at the South Pole, I mean, everyone else knows it's like a movie about the Titanic. We all know how it will end. But the story of getting to that ending would be interesting as duck. The great conspiracy ducked with their compasses. Swapped out their compasses ECT ad infinitum ad nauseam. Flat earthers are fundaments. They can find some way of dismissing any evidence. The ultimate fallback is that the conspiracy did it in some unspecified way they can't explain. Because if it was easy to explain how the conspiracy did it, it wouldn't be much of a conspiracy. Duh. Behind the Curve was a great documentary about flat earthers trying to seek out the scientific proof that the earth is flat. There's all this build up to the moment when they're doing this experiment with a laser gyroscope that they believed would reveal that the earth was flat, and their result proved the opposite, revealing more evidence for the earth's curvature. It was a priceless moment. That's my issue with this idea though. From what I've heard, I haven't actually watched it, they still didn't back down. Even after the experiment they thought the earth was flat. Clearly the experiment went wrong or something. I don't think evidence can change these people's minds, unfortunately. If it could, they wouldn't be flat earthers in the first place. In general, they are just a bit sad, lonely people who are alienated and are trying to hold it together by believing this thing that only they know the truth of, so they can feel better about themselves. That sounds a bit harsh and generalizing, and I'm sure there are nuances, but this is also what the documentary shows. What you said is true, and they are also deep-seated Christians who want everything to go back to the old, simple way that it used to be. Bet it would end on a cliffhanger. This pun is so edgy. I'm not sure reality show is quite the right description. Perhaps they'll discover reality on their journey. No, unfortunately they won't. Even when reality is staring them in the face, they'll claim that the whole thing was a setup from the start, or that all their efforts to reach the edge have been sabotaged by big something or other. These people are so far beyond being able to recognize reality. Yeah, they would certainly claim that they were in a simulation for the entire duration of the filming or something. Flat earthers annoy me so much. They use our scientific words for which we already have definitions, and they change them to suit their needs. Why don't they make up their own scientific words? Buoyancy is the word that gets me the most probably. The way they use that word is ridiculous. Because no flat earthers agree with each other, that particular word finds a lot of different meanings. Call it the Magellan Challenge. This could potentially be the longest running show ever. This would very quickly devolve into conspiracies against the production company and the people operating the boat or the equipment being sabotaged. Unfortunately, in theory it'd be awesome. In practice they'd almost immediately come up with 50 excuses, and no minds would be changed. Honestly not good. This is a classic don't feed the troll. They will scream false news And all you do is give another platform for others to agree with them. EHH. I feel like the plot would just go round and round. Anticlimactic. I would happily support this if they are shown to be complete idiots and are ridiculed every step of the way. Otherwise you create more flat earthers with this promotional idea. It get boring after season 56-53 though. Reminds me of Whale Wars. Basically watching them fail season after season. I find it hilarious. But let's please not give the people who deny reality a microphone. THNX. Most if not all flat earthers are also anti-vaxxers. I frankly wouldn't want them to travel and spread diseases all over the planet. I'd rather just put them all on a deserted island and forget they exist. It wouldn't work. They have an explanation. When you approach the ice wall at the edge of the earth you magically get teleported back further inland. Seriously. Every single time you catch them in one of their logical absurdities. Each time they invent an explanation even stupider than the last. It's like trying to debate creationists and QAnon people. You just keep going in circles as they flatly deny every piece of evidence staring them in the face. We would end up watching a show about desperate performative trolls from China. Or Russia and very few. But possibly entertaining Americans. Europeans that really fell for it. It would be really sad. These people probably come to these conclusions because of stuff going on in their lives. Maybe they lost a loved one. Maybe went through a bad divorce. Maybe life's stresses are too much to handle, and they find comfort in a community that thinks they know better than all of us. My boss retired early, has rental income, house, great family, kids, and he still believed it. Probably because he retired early and got nothing else to do. Honestly, I wouldn't watch it. We know they wouldn't succeed, and I think that would be a catastrophic waste of money. It would be a massive hit, and I bet they are filming it right now. No, they do not need any amount of fame. No, this just give oxygen to nonsense that only exists to draw eyeballs towards nonsense. Flat earthers are basically a marketing meme that draws eyeballs towards something that allows people to judge dumb people just like Jerry Springer or Honey Boo Boo. Please stop and delete all references to flat earthers and they will go back to being 10 people in the entire world. There's enough shows on TV where people with more plastic and less brain cells than Barbie represent. I think 2 of them shows are called Jersey Shore and The Only Way is Essex. I actually do want to see a reality TV show where conspiracy theorists are given resources and access to help disprove their theories. That would literally be hilarious. Joe, we're back where we started, and we went in a straight line. Damn it, Bob, I told you not to go around the building. We need to start all over again. Now the earth is flat, damn it. Put them all in a custom made space station, and if they still don't believe, send them to the sun. I'd watch if the narration commentary was on their side and the whole thing was filmed as if it were an inspirational thing they were doing, only to be disappointed at the end when they didn't find anything. Considering most flat earth maps put the edge in Antarctica, I think it would be funny to watch them try to reach it by walking through a vast frozen emptiness, but wouldn't last due to the whole thing where people are being left to die in a desolate wasteland. Give them $1 million in funding, no strings attached, to look for and present an evidence for flat earth. Only the TV crew will follow them. All proceeds from the show will go to them if they can prove the earth is flat, or else all proceeds go to charity. We need to stop legitimizing stupid people and start shaming them. The last few years have proven that is a very bad idea to give stupid people a platform or let them organize. You give an idiot any wriggle room to believe their own bullshit and they will run home with the ball. Stop being proud of being dumb. Stop supporting and legitimizing dumb people. It's like feeding wild dogs. It will only end badly.